Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Investor More, and I'm standing outside a house flip we have been working on for a while, and we're doing an update video on this flip and also talking about some contractor problems we are running into. Multiple contractor problems on this one. So we'll talk about that. We haven't talked about contractor problems for a little while, so it's about time we had one of those videos. We'll show you the progress and go in depth on some of the ways to kind of work through these problems and issues and try to avoid them in the future as well. Now, of course, check out investormore.com for much more information on our flips, rentals, being an agent, all that great stuff. We have hundreds of free articles on there and a free book that talks about how I got started. And then also, we love it when you like our videos, comment and share them. So please keep that up as well. And let's get started with this house. Okay, so I want to make a quick point here before we get into the video. It's been a couple of days and we did end up firing our contractor, which we talk about here soon. And we've had some crazy interactions with the subcontractor he hired as well. And he's threatened to file a lien and just almost seems crazy. So hopefully I don't disappear here anytime soon. But massive amounts of text messages and threatening to call the cops because I'm texting him too much, even though I'm not. It's just been pretty crazy. So we'll have some more updates on that at the end of this as well. So make sure you watch this whole thing because it's pretty intense. Oh, and the good news though is Fun Car Friday today. And as you can see, I figured out how to get 2 cars in the blue steel garage. So there's some good news at least. All right, so this is a house we bought through networking for $230,000 a few months ago, and it was actually the buyer's agent for a flip we sold that called us and said, hey, I have a house the sellers want to sell, they don't want to put on the market, are you interested in buying? So we said yes, of course. We took a look at it, negotiated some, and ended up buying it. Now, you can see there's definitely some work being done, but we have run into a number of problems with the contractor on this property. One of the biggest things you'll notice is the hardwood is done and the rest of the house is not done. And that's just because of the timelines and things we've been told that haven't quite lined up. So when we first talked to the contractor, he's worked with a few other properties and been a little slow, but not crazy slow. He said, hey, I need 5 to 6 weeks to finish this job. He's got a crew, and we're like, okay. And kind of assuming, hey, 5 to 6 weeks actually means like 8 weeks, maybe a little more. You never know. Things take longer than you think. Well, we're going on 11 weeks now, and as you can see, there's still a lot of work to be done. And, doors aren't in, a lot of work all over. And that's why the hardwood was done. We're like, hey, we scheduled the hardwood based on your schedule. We gave him 2 weeks notice for when the hardwood was going to be done. Said, fine, no problem. Well, obviously, he wasn't even close to being ready. And now, some of it's covered up, but some isn't. And, when you put the doors in, we do other work, are we going to mess up the brand new hardwood floors we just refinished? And they're probably, a little bit messed up already. So that's one issue. And obviously the timeline. We had the bid to do the work. We always do bids with labor only. We pay for all the materials. We use our Home Depot Managed Pro account. Sometimes we buy materials from other places, but that saves us a ton of money doing that. And the contractors can use text to confirm. They can just show up, pick up materials, text to confirm, comes to Nikki. She approves it. Very easy process. And she can look at the receipts before she approves them to see what's been bought, what they're spending money on, all of that. So we had their bid to do the labor on the house, and then when we pay contractors, we usually pay 25% up front of their labor, and then 25% when they're 50% done, and then we'll do 50% the rest when they're all the way done, and that gives them kind of motivation to keep working, to go fast, so they can get their money. And some people say, oh, I can't believe you don't pay more up front. That's not how we work as contractors. I'm like, well, what other job do you get paid before you do the work? It's not a very common thing. Maybe some lawyers get put on retainer, but I certainly do not get paid before I do my work. As a real estate agent and broker, we do a huge amount of work before we get paid anything. And then there's no guarantee we will get paid. Sometimes a deal falls apart. We put in hours and work and don't make a dime. So Anyway, getting on a tangent here. So we ended up paying them, more than 50% because of the add-ons that they kept adding on to their bid after we had it approved. So we'll get the labor bid approved, and then a lot of times there's add-ons. New things that we didn't talk about, things that come up, things you find. We don't just make them do those for free. We say, hey, keep track of that. Let us know what the add-on price is, and we'll make that work. So usually our contractors are real honest, have decent amount, honest amounts for those add-ons. Sometimes they try and budget them a little bit. Well, in this case, there's like $8,000 of add-ons for a little bit of drywall work. We decided to tile this floor instead of, I forgot what else we were gonna do. And that was like $2,500 in labor. Like, what is going on here? We don't need to tile the floor if it's gonna be that much. And some other, just lots of little stuff adding up. So that was an issue. It's understandable, but what's not understandable is, one, there's no one here. As you can see, we've been here a few times the last few weeks, and at most there's one person here kind of sort of working. But usually they're gone and the house is left unlocked and the lockbox is left open. So we actually came here yesterday because we were looking at a different property. And yeah, the house is unlocked, all the doors were open, fans were on, and then as we were leaving, one of the guys working for the contractor was riding his bike back to the house from going to the bathroom at the gas station. But, this contractor's job is to put in toilets and bathrooms. He's been here 11 weeks. You'd think they would have put a toilet in, so that would save them time. The other thing, of course, we got here today, and our patio door was wide open. It wasn't locked. That's, not a good sign, especially since this contractor had their tools stolen once before at another property. So I figured out why this door won't lock. It's because it's not installed right and it can't lock. So we've got it locked now, but that's why it was left unlocked. And I don't know, let's see. That's one tip for contractors too. Don't leave your tools at the job site. Because they are primed to get stolen and broken into. So I don't see any of their tools, which is good that they didn't leave them here. So at least hopefully they've learned that lesson. So that's also not the only issue. We've had the timeline, the money, and we've ended up paying them, we always try and keep track of it, but a lot of times we'll, also let the contractor kind of tell us, hey, you owe us this much money, you owe us this much money. We have a lot of job sites going on. And usually we try to keep track of what we paid out, how the job's going, make sure it's not too much. Well, in this one, we might have been a little lax on how much we paid out because we've already paid them more than their initial bid, which is obviously way more than 50%, but not all of it because of the add-on. So technically, we've almost paid them more than like the work they've done right here. And so that's a mistake we made. We kind of didn't stick to our agreement that we made. We make mistakes sometimes, and we really shouldn't have paid them as much as we did right now. And you can kind of see that, like they keep asking for money, keep asking for money. It's like, oh, well, they keep paying us money, so why do we need to work? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I don't have any money. I can't pay my guys. It's like, well, hey, we paid you more than your initial bid on this property. You should have way more than enough money to pay them. So, that's not our responsibility to run your crew for you. So there's that issue too. And along with that came another issue with another contractor that they hired. So that issue came up last week, and we showed up here to take a peek at the house. There was one guy here working. That was a new person this contractor had hired. He said hi, we introduced ourselves, didn't say much, left. And so the next day, or maybe it's 2 days later, that guy Facebook messages me saying he's not getting paid. He's owed $600. He's filing a lien against the house. So I thought that was a little strange considering he was literally just working on the house the day before, 2 days before, to file a lien against the house. And then he just talked all kinds of crap about the contractors working here, how they were cutting corners, they weren't paying him. They agreed to pay him $200 a day. And then I guess I talked to my contractors and they said, well, yeah, he worked 2 days and then was just doing horrible work, so we fired him on the third day. We agreed to pay him for 2 days, and he wanted paid for the third day. So they're arguing over $200. The guy who's working here says he's going to file a lien for $600 against the property, and wanted me to just pay him directly. I'm like, no, I'm not going to pay you directly. Like, you need to figure that out with the contractor who hired you. You guys made the deal. Like, you guys need to figure it out. And then he started talking about how they were threatening violence and how he has voicemails of them threatening him and all this crazy stuff. You've got to love flipping houses. And so I said, all right, like, I don't know you. It's your word against theirs. If they sent you text message and voicemails, send them to me and I'll review them. And he said, all right, I'll send them to you tonight. Never sent them, never got them. And then he kept messaging me like over and over again, threatening to lien, saying he has his real estate license and he knows the recourse against real estate agents, all kinds of stuff. And so I'm like, hey, I'm not just going to pay you. And I talked to my contractor and said, yeah, we offered to pay him. He stopped talking to us. He won't respond to us. So again, that guy kept saying he's going to lien the property, how I need to pay him. Then he started calling me names, getting into all kinds of crazy accusations through text message. So when I get into little tiffs like this with contractors or people, I don't, like some people, this guy literally called me a little girl because I wouldn't talk to him on the phone. Well, yeah, I'm not going to talk to you on the phone because I want every single thing you say in writing in a text message so I can go back to it and see what you said, what I said, so there's no misunderstanding. So yeah, I literally have him calling me a little girl and different names in text messages and threatening to go to the real estate commission, all kinds of crazy stuff, which makes no sense because that has nothing to do with fixing up the properties. And so, yeah, he is trying to file a lien for $600 against the property. And yesterday, 2 days ago, he texted me and said he's going to call the cops if I keep harassing him through text messages, even though he's the one who's texted me like 50 times. And I literally just respond, with very short answers about, okay, no problem. And then he keeps calling me names and I respond and say, yeah, okay. And then he threatens to call the cops because I'm harassing him. So it's crazy how people react sometimes. But that's part of life. So we have that going on here too. And he did actually file lien paperwork. He sent that to me yesterday. And he said, here's the lien filed. I need you to pay me right away. And I mean, if you're going to treat people like that and be a jerk about everything, I'm not going to go out of my way to pay you. Not to mention, he also said he's hoping he could work for me in the future and that he could replace these contractors because they did such horrible work. So if you are trying to get a job, if you're trying to work with somebody, the best approach is not to talk crap about the people currently working with them right off the bat. Like, that's a very bad way to do it, and it will actually make it much harder to get a job and work from those people. So he filed the lien, but that's not all you have to do. After filing the lien, we have a chance to respond. If we respond, he's got to show proof of everything. So this sure is a whole lot of time and effort to go through for $600, and technically only $200. And I guess the disagreement comes where my contractor fired the guy on the morning of the last day, and so he worked an hour, but he wanted paid for the entire day's work, so he wanted that extra $200. So I just stopped responding to the guy, and my plan is we'll give our contractor a chance to still, fix that, make it good, because that's another, hey, bad sign if you aren't paying your guys and you are creating problems for us. That's not good. You need to get that taken care of. And I don't know for sure if they're threatening violence or, that sure is a mess. That was a moldy, rotten house, the old dollhouse there before, but they sure left it a mess. But if you are going to have these issues, take care of them. And if it's over that little money, it's not worth starting a crazy war over. Get it taken care of. And I'm sure people could say the same thing to me too. But if you're going to come out being aggressive and threatening and doing different stuff, that makes me really not want to help you. If you're cool about it, you're nice about it, we talk about it, hey, we can try and get something figured out. And I still try to get something figured out with our contractor. But obviously, I don't know where the problem is there. So lots of stuff going on with this house. Again, they had said they were going to paint the outside, paint the inside. That was weeks and weeks and weeks ago. That was all supposed to be done. So now we have to decide where we go from here with this contractor. If we try to keep working with them, if we just say we're done and we move on and get a different contractor in here to finish up, because I don't know how long it's going to take them to finish all this. They're going so slow and they're never here. So that's another tip. I know we're going over a lot of contractor tips here, but I know a lot of people deal with these issues too. I've had this issue before where we have contractors who work on houses. They want us to meet and see the house and see how awesome it is and how great it's doing. And they always give us the time to meet them there. And what they'll do is they'll make sure their whole crew's there, they're working at that time. So you have to make sure you go visit houses and see them, not just when your contractor asks you to come, but at other times as well when they don't know you're coming, because a lot of times you show up and nobody's here, nobody's working. They'll make sure their whole crew's here and they're there when they set up the time, but every other time they're not here, they're doing other stuff. And I know this guy has other jobs he's doing and has probably just stretched himself too thin and gotten himself in a bind, but we can't just keep going and going and going without work being done and keep paying people more than the work that has been done. So those are the crazy long stories on this house right now. Like I said, we bought it for $230. We were going to have probably 35 to 40,000 repairs in it, maybe a little more. That might get higher now if we have to bring in a new contractor. I'm not sure how we're going to figure all that out. We'll see. Market keeps going up though, so that's good. We'll probably have another 25, 30,000 other costs in this property. And it should be worth in the 350 range, I think. Maybe more. We'll see. So we should have good numbers. We should still be fine on it. It's just dealing with this issue. And it just always sucks like losing a contractor if it comes to that. We don't want to lose contractors because they are our business and help us make money. And if we don't have enough contractors, houses just sit and don't get done. So, and it's also very tough and difficult to find new contractors. We go through a very stringent vetting process and interview process, and it's not easy finding really good people. So it definitely adds more work for us, more time for us, and costs us money. But you also can't just use people who aren't doing their part as well over and over again, because that will also cost you money and time. The longer these properties sit, the more money it will cost you in financing, property taxes, home insurance, utilities, maintenance, all of that stuff. So I know this is a super long video, so thank you everybody who kept watching or listening for the whole rant and everything. We will, like that. What's going on right there? Anyway, figure out a solution today. We'll talk to everybody. I know Nikki was out there trying to call the contractor and he did not answer. Maybe she's talking to him right now. She might have her phone to her ear. So we'll see what he says and go from there. All right, we're back at the house, and I want to update on what happened. The contractor who's working on it is no longer working on this house and will no longer be working with us at all. So again, he's arguing again with the other contractor who wanted to file a lien. They're literally arguing over $175. So it was crazy. And then we told him, hey, you have to be working here. We're not just going to keep paying you. And he said, well, I can't pay my guys. I can't do any more work unless I get more money. So we told him, fine, we're done. We'll get someone else in here to finish up the job, because we've literally paid him more money than the work he's done so far. And we're not just going to keep paying him. So, and this is after he just purchased a concrete company too. So if you don't have money to pay your guys and you haven't done work on the house and you won't work on it yourself, then that is just not going to work out well for us. So it sucks, but part of the business. We'll move on and fix it. All right, so as far as the other contractor who's hired by our contractor that we hired, I think he filed an intent to lien, but we'll have a chance to respond to that, show them text messages he sent me and all this stuff. He literally told me he was getting paid under the table by our contractor, had nothing in writing, no contract, nothing. Now he's trying to say he charges $50 a day in late fees from the time he does the work if he's not paid that same day. Just crazy stuff. He keeps sending me text messages after text messages after text messages. I haven't responded in like 3 days, and he just keeps sending me messages. And he's the one who told me to stop harassing him by texting him, or he would call the cops on me, which is just crazy. But people say crazy things and do crazy things. So I don't know if he thinks that I'm just going to show up to his house and magically pay him and guess and assume he'll release a lien, but that's not how this is going to work now. So we'll, of course, update you and let you know how this situation plays out and what happens from here. All right, of course, check out investformore.com for much more information on flips, rentals, being an agent, all of that great stuff. And Amazon, we have 9 books. I'm working on a 10th right now. And we have my free book, as I said before, on investformore.com as well. We love the likes, love the comments, love the shares. Let us know what you think of this deal. And we'll be back with many more videos coming up.